We are back on Nittany Game Week. Same crew as last season with some new stuff to talk about, including rule changes for 2023. 17 years these two worked together on the same staff. Let's send it over to our offensive and defensive experts, Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley, for the preseason scouting report, fellas.
Well, Todd, everybody's trying to shorten the game. We're going to try and shorten this segment, so we're going to go over the new rules. Important rules. So let's take a look at number one. When the offense gains a first down, the clock will no longer stop to award a first down with less than 2 minutes remaining in second and fourth quarters. Why? They want to get the length of the games down. Let's take a look at some other sports. The NFL average length of the game is 3 hours, 12 minutes. College football, 324, which is up 15 minutes in the last 15 years. Major League Baseball made some changes and has gone from 306 to 238. So that seems to be the emphasis. So let's talk about how that's going to work. First downs, 39 first downs in average per Penn State game last year with both teams combined. So every time somebody gets a first down, if they're inbounds, that clock will continue to roll. Next rule change, consecutive charged team timeouts. So you cannot call a timeout 2 times in a row during a stopped play. One team cannot do that. And why? Again, length of games. Now let's look at a very famous example of that rule. 2018, Penn State, Ohio State. Let's take a look at the video. 4th and 5, critical point in the game. Penn State calls timeout to see what Ohio State's doing on defense. They come out, they run the clock all the way down. Ohio State looks at Penn State. They say, okay, we're going to call timeout. Then Penn State comes off that timeout, and they say, okay, let's see what Ohio State's doing, and let's call a timeout. So 3 consecutive timeouts. So at a key point in the game, there was 6 minutes between the third down play. So again, if you get rid of that rule, you cut that down, the game goes faster. Now let's talk about what this might mean in terms of the difference in the game. You get into the Rose Bowl. Let's take a look at Utah here. They run a play, they're huddling, but when they get the first down, the clock stops for 7 or 8 seconds. But between the plays, if you look at total, 35 seconds of actual time, Tom, runs off the clock. What do you think that means for the future with that rule now, with the clock is no longer stopped?
What I see is you're going to get into whatever personnel grouping you have on the field. You're going to not be able to switch it all the time. You're going to get in, all of a sudden, you're going to get on that ball again, get ready to roll right away as fast as you can. You'll have that personnel grouping, will give you multiple looks that will be different maybe than you've seen in the past from that particular grouping.
Yeah, and probably more no huddle. And if you look at the analysis of Penn State, if 2/3 of the first downs last year were inbounds, that's at 2:36 in terms of time the game will shorten by. Not massive changes, but subtle changes to keep the game going. I think, as you mentioned, same personnel groups, no huddle. Now, we just looked at Utah. 35 seconds ran off the clock. Penn State goes to no huddle. Same game. Watch this play. Penn State runs this pass, gets a first down, and they are on the ball, snapping again in less than 13 seconds. So I think those are some of the things you're going to see as we go forward in college football. The last part, I think, where you see the impact is the 4-minute offense. Obviously outside of 2 minutes, but when trying to run the clock out, here's Penn State trying to run the ball down against Northwestern with the clock not stopping on the first down. There's another 7 or 8 seconds you can pick up each play where that clock is running.
It's going to change more NFL-like.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
And you as a defense coordinator wanting that clock to run, that
Yes,
probably makes you happy.
Yes, I do.
So those are some of the things to keep an eye on for this year as the rule changes and what you're going to see trends in college football. And a guy who's always on top of the trends, back over to Todd Sadowski.
Well, I try. We'll see if we can keep that rolling in 2023, shall we? And after all these years, look at the chemistry between those two coaches over there. Warms my heart. It's as if they complete each other's sentences, right? So for Penn State offensive coordinator Mike Yurcich, defensive coordinator Manny Diaz return, I asked them both at Media Day how their relationship is growing as they head into their second year together.
We both have the same goal in terms of the category we want to lead the nation in. We want to lead the nation in wins, right? Early in my career, I was as fortunate enough to be a part of a staff at NC State. We were #1 in the nation in total defense, and we finished 5 and 6 that year. There's no ring for that. We didn't have a parade. Nobody noticed. No one remembers that. That's why I keep telling that story.
Egos can get in the way, and I'd like to think, and I hope he'd feel the same way about me, is that we're professionals and that we're trying to, become the best team that we can. So our communication has been very good. We're not, we're very competitive at the same time. We want to win each drill, and we want to win the scrimmage and practices and that sort of thing. But we also understand that there has to be communication and a togetherness within that.
Love that answer from Coach Diaz. They want to lead the country in wins. Important to get everyone rowing in the same direction. Time to take a break. When we come back, our Impact interview. He's been on the job for over a year, already dealing with unprecedented changes. We catch up with Nittany Lions Athletic Director Dr. Pat Kraft when Nittany Game Week returns.